Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I'm excited to share with you a first look at the Multinational Airborne Division, a new division available in the upcoming NORTHAG expansion. Let's jump on in. Just a note, what you see today is a work in progress and therefore subject to change, but we're going to go through all of the units and we'll put together a quick deck. So starting here in the logistics tab, we have ourselves the Kraka munition, which is a very interesting small supply vehicle that can actually be brought in a CH-53 if you want to. Not sure why you would, but the opportunity is there. 300 supply, only 4 health, 90 kilometers per hour, road speed though. I wouldn't want to be riding on one of those things at 90 kilometers per hour, but it can go that fast. Moving on, we have the ATMP cargo vehicle, another very interesting cargo vehicle at 90 kilometers per hour speed again with 4 health, 300 supply. The people who would drive these at 90 kilometers per hour are absolutely crazy. Then we have the Rover 101 FC supply, which is a 500 supply truck at 90 kilometers per hour speed. Not generally a big fan of having to micro like so many small vehicles, but it is cool that they are included in the game. And of course, in the case of the ATMP cargo, they are able to forward deploy because they're airborne. But you can do the same with the Unimog here. So this can be forward deployed as well with 750 supply, which is really useful in situations where you have like limited AT units. So like something like an AT squad that has like 4 rockets. Having a supply vehicle with them at the start of the game can be very, very handy for taking out multiple vehicles very, very quickly. Then we have the Sultan. So it comes in at 2 vets. Not going to be too helpful for the command vehicle, but the high base veterancy is promising for the rest of the division. So Sultan here, solid command vehicle. There's a Belgian version and there is a British version. Both of them with the same stats, of course. 80 kilometers per hour on-road speed. They get decent armor. Yeah, really, really solid leader choice. Then there's the CH-53, which comes with supply. So 2,000 supply for 65 points. Pretty standard stuff. 3 on a card. And then there's forward deploy Führungs. So there is the German one, and then there's also a Belgian one. Both 90 points, 100 kilometers per hour speed. Pick whichever one you prefer, nationality-wise. Right, moving on to the infantry tab. We have ourselves the MG3 squad, can be forward deployed. Then we have the Belgian MAG squad, can be forward deployed. The British MAG squad can be forward deployed. And there's also a British 50 cal squad, which is interesting, which can also be forward deployed. Now, in terms of transports, these can be brought in with the ILTIS. That one can be brought in with an ILTIS. And then these can actually be brought in with the ATMP, which is really funny. You're generally going to want to go for the Rover because the off-road speed of the Rover is actually much faster than the ATMP. Although the ATMP is technically amphibious. I'm not sure why you'd want that use for a machine gun, but good to know. All right, moving on, we have the Dutch Marines with dragons. Okay, well, they're getting them 47 Dragon as a 2-man squad. That is absolutely trash. 1,400 meter range, 65% accuracy due to the veterancy. It's this penetration value that just makes them so awful. And the range, of course. At least they're getting good stealth, I suppose. They can be brought in with the truck there or the Alouette. Okay, moving on to the Belgian Special Forces. We have ourselves the Powder Commandos of the Belgians. They have the FNC, Allure, and Smoke Grenade. Like, as a leader, it's pretty solid. 100 points though, quite expensive. Moving on, we have the Genie. I'm going to call it Genie because I don't imagine it's pronounced Genie. Parachutiste. 6-man squad with satchels. And they are shock and airborne. It's okay. Then we have the Para Commandos. They have 7 FNCs, the Mini-Me Para and the M72. 8-man squad for 50 points with airborne, trait and shock. It's okay. They can be brought in with the Unimog that has a 50 cal and a Milan on it. That is wild. Very cool combination. Especially at like the beginning of the game. I feel like this could be really strong. And then we have the Para Commando with the Blinder side. Okay. So 7 FNCs, Mini-Me Para, and the Blinder side, which has 18 penetration, 60% accuracy thanks to the veterancy at 675 meter range. Could be pretty strong early on again, just due to the fact that they can be forward deployed. I really like their camo as well. Very cool. Right, moving on to the Gurkhas. Oh yeah. So most of these units I think are available, or some of them at least, are available in the campaign already. And Gurkhas I've played around with a lot in the campaign. They're super strong. So we've got the Gurkhas leader here. For 50 points, you're getting a 6-man squad with an M72 and smoke grenade. You get shock, you get resolute. This is really nice for an infantry leader. Then we have the Gurkhas AT group. Double Lore 80. So this is exactly the sort of squad I was talking about with the supply that you can forward deploy. This would be a squad that benefits from that quite a lot. Although I say that, the Gurkhas AT group can't actually forward deploy, so that's not too handy. And then we have the Gurkhas rifles, which come with 9 L85s, 3 L86s, and a Lore 80. 12-man squad with a Lore 80 is huge. This is probably one of the best infantry squads in the game, I would argue, with both shock and resolute trait. Huge. Can be brought in with a Bedford, can be brought in with a Chinook. Then we have the Gurkha River Wombat, which can be airlifted by the Chinook. So that's cool. But otherwise, yep, your standard Wombat with the 15 penetration, 45% accuracy. Then we got some more Dutch troops. These don't actually look that great, like the Uzi, 6 FALs, and I guess like a machine gun variant of the FAL. Saw Fallow. Okay. And then also a mag. They are resolute, but not having any AT is a bit of a worry. Like, even if they just had an M72 Lore, maybe they would be worth it. They can be brought in with a German helicopter or a Dutch transport truck. Interesting. Okay, then we have the Milan squad, which belongs to the Belgians. They can be brought in with that Unimog. I really like this combination. Like, this Unimog probably going to get killed very, very easily. It has bad optics, bad stealth. But as like early game fire support, maybe it's useful. Right, next up we have the Fallschirmjägerführer, 6-man squad with smoke, can be forward deployed. So you're definitely playing like a big tax on some of these units for the forward deploy. Like, particularly like the difference between like the Gurkha's rifle leader and the Para Commando, you can see is 50 points. Mainly just due to the fact that they can't be forward deployed, the Gurkha's rifle leader. But the Fallschirmjägerführer here, still a decent squad as a leader. And then there's Fallschirm Pioneers, which are 9 G3A4s, MG3, and Satchel. Then we have the Para Engineers, 6-man squad for 100 points without smoke or an AT. Probably not a good idea. Can be brought in with the ATMP though. Oh yeah. And then the Para Engineers, 55 points, 7 L85s, 2 L86s, and a Satchel. Just a little bit more capability at range. Yeah, it's an okay choice. Alright, moving on, we have the Para Gun Group. So a 6-man squad. 3 L85s, 3 L7A2s, and then a Carl Gustav for 55 points. I feel like there's not enough men to justify this being 55 points. But They do have shock, but I'm not sure how useful this machine gun's going to be. Alright, moving on, we have the Fallschirmjäger. Fallschirmjäger are really nice because they have the Panzerfaust 3. And the Panzerfaust 3, it has a rate of fire of 20 base. And you can see like the veterancy is pushing that to 22. Base accuracy is 65%, and then 21 pen on the Panzerfaust 3. Super, super good AT weapon. So a nice option for 70 points. You've got to be careful though that it doesn't get overrun by cheaper infantry. And then we have the Para Leader, which is a 6-man squad, 100 points with the M72 and smoke grenade. And then standard Paras, which are 6 L85, 2 L86 Law ATs with shock. So they're basically like standard airborne squads, or I guess like standard rifle British squads, except from they have a shock trait. So decent loadout. Then we have the Milan 2, British Milan 2. They can be brought in with the Raver and the Gazelle. The Milan 2, like its penetration, can really do a lot of damage. There's also a German one, which can be forward deployed. Okay, so this tab is going to be very much like balancing what you want forward deployed versus like what you want just to come up as reinforcements. So it's going to be interesting to work that one out. Moving on to the artillery, we have ourselves a British 81mm mortar, and also another one. Oh, this one has cluster. Oh, interesting. Huh. I'm curious how good this could be. This is definitely something I'm going to try out. Like cluster 81mm mortar. Then we've got 107mm mortars belonging to the Belgians. We have 120mm mortars belonging to the Germans. There is the L118-105. So the L19 gun with the 17km range. I mean, these are okay as 105 supports and smoke support, I suppose. Finally, there's Belgian 105. Okay, so the artillery lacking in high HE, but in terms of like mortar smoke support and like the cluster support potentially from the 81mm, pretty nice. Like you're going to be able to have plenty of cover as you move forwards, as long as you keep up that smoke. And moving on to the tank tab. The tank tab's going to be pretty anemic in terms of actual tanks. Like your only options here really are the Scorpion or the Scimitar. So Scorpion, very lackluster for 35 points, but the Scimitar, decent choice with the 30mm autocannon there. There's the Weasel, which is joining us in WARNO. Can be deployed by the CH-53, which is cool. But in this case, you probably just want to keep them on the ground with that 20mm. And then there's also the Weasel TOW 2. Now, the Weasel, because it's so small, does get good stealth. And having a good stealth TOW 2 unit is very nice. Then there's the Krakatoa, which gets an ITO, also good stealth. And then there's the Striker with the swing fire. 23 penetration is really nice, but unfortunately only having mediocre stealth is a bit lackluster. And then there's the Milan 2 coming on the ATMP. You're still getting that amphibious trait. You're getting airborne traits. You can forward deploy this. Honestly, not a bad option. Right, moving on to the recon tab. Starting off with the Gazelle. Standard, very good optics helicopter. Only 4 health though. Then we have the Scout helicopter here. Really cool actually. The detailing on this engine is absolutely awesome. I was looking at that in the dev blogs. Very, very cool indeed. But very good optics. Does have AS-11 missiles. These things are pretty trash, but fun to watch. 60 points. It's okay. Then we have the Sniper. Classic British sniper team. Can be brought in with the ATMP if you want to give them a wild ride. Then we have the Scorpion in the Recon tab, which does get that good optics. It is British. And we have the scimitar with the good optics as well. Then we have the Patrouille. I'm gonna absolutely butcher the Belgian names. I apologize so much. This is a very good optics infantry unit that can be forward deployed. They do have exceptional stealth, but in terms of like their firepower, I'm not a fan. They can be brought in with a very good, oh sorry, just a standard good optic Iltis, which has a 50 cal on it, which also has good stealth. Or you can bring them with a Spartan. Maybe this combination is why you'd bring them. So you can get a good optics vehicle, and then like the very good optics infantry. Maybe. And then there's also a shock unit for the Paracommando Éclaireur. These guys have 3 FNCs, 3 mini-me para, and the blinder side. This isn't the good blinder side though. Only has 14 penetration, as opposed to the 18 penetration of, I think it's the RL 100. 675 meter range. Can be brought in with the small helicopter, the A109B. Very cool looking helicopter. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about these recon units. Moving on, we have ourselves recon cars, the LSV with the 50 cal on top. Very cool. Very cool. They're also elite veterancy, so the accuracy on them is really good. And then we have the LSV Milan, which comes with the Milan 2, and because of the elite veterancy, has 66% accuracy. It does have good stealth as well, so it's able to hide. It's awesome. Like special forces jeeps. Nice. Okay, moving on, we have the Fallschirmjäger Aufklärer. Standard 4-man squad, but the great thing about these is they are forward deployed due to airborne trait, and they have a Panzerfaust 3, so this is a nice combination. Then we have the Pada Scouts. Solid 8-man recon squad, honestly. Like a chunky squad, 8-man with very good optics is always nice. That's why I like the Jäger Aufklärer were always good. And then standard Pathfinders as well. Okay, well, Pathfinders, they are special forces. They have the shock trait. Okay, let me just check the difference here. So they get M16s instead of L85s. They're sacrificing a little bit on HE power, but they get 4 machine guns. And then the M72A3. Okay, these are going to beast infantry at range. If you can get these into like good defensive positions early on, or like just like those prime positions where you end up like with those infantry combat at the start of the game, it could be really, really strong. Okay, moving on, we have the AA tab. So Javelin squads, never been fantastic, but you get a base veterancy of 1. So you're pushing to 60% accuracy at 2,475 meter range, which makes them not as bad. There's the Kraken with the 20 mil on it. This is wild. There's no way that doesn't flip over. Incredible. These could actually be unironically pretty good. 90 km/h speed, just like zoom up the road, start shooting down some helicopters at 40 points apiece. That's absolutely wild. Then we have the Vulcan. It's okay. Nothing special about the Vulcan, unfortunately. You probably want to bring it in upvetted if you're going to use it, because that way it does rip helicopters pretty well. We have the Sky Guard, 35 mil. This thing actually has a 3,000 meter range against aircraft. That's huge. 2,825 meter range against helicopters. The question would be the damage. Like, how much damage does it actually do? And we have an ATMP with a Javelin LML on it. I actually really like this. I'm not a huge fan of like having the infantry squads have the Javelin LML that they have to carry around because it's super slow. But having it on a reasonably fast vehicle could be pretty good. Then there's Mistral squads. Mistrals are great. Best manpad by far. 65% accuracy with that base 1 vet. 5 HE. 2,800 meter range against helicopters. Really, really good. But we do get access to the new Darkfire FSB2 Rapier. So this kind of trumps everything else in the AA tab, with a 3,875 meter range versus aircraft and 3,175 meter range versus helicopters. Absolutely huge. 70% accuracy. Very nice indeed. And moving on to the helicopters. Not too much to choose from here, just the AH-1 Helarm, which gets the tow, the AH-7 Helarm, which gets the eye-tow, and there's the BO-105, which comes with the Hot 1 or the Hot 2. I think in this case, the Hot 2 is probably going to be your best choice, even if it is low health, because you're generally just going to be using these in locations where the enemy is sort of broken through, and then maybe their AA support is like a little bit too far behind, and you can kind of just use these to snipe enemy armor. And 24 penetration is good enough to like really do a decent amount of damage in the front armor compared to the ITO, which is only at 20. And moving on to the air tab, got a nice sort of array of aircraft from all different nations here. So starting off with the Belgian Mirages. So we've got a Mirage with rocket pods. Not looking too great as a starter, to be honest. 155 points, there's no way that's worth it. But the Mirage with the four 400 kilogram bombs. Okay. I mean, 265 points seems very expensive. 30% ECM. The payload's just not big enough to warrant that kind of price. Then we have the NF5A. It's just like a starfighter. With rock eyes. 227 kilogram cluster. Not going to be doing too much damage to heavy tanks, which is generally when you'd want to use cluster, so not sure about these. Still get 20% ECM though. Curious how good they'd maybe be against helicopters. With the 20mm plus the AIM-9, maybe they'll be going a bit too fast for that. Moving on, we have the Buccaneers. Such beautiful aircraft, the Buccaneer. Oh, so gorgeous. Very, very nice indeed. And the Buccaneers, if you've played the campaign, there is a time when you can get them, and they are incredible. So it's really, really going to be fun to use these now in multiplayer. This payload is fantastic. 6 513 kilogram bombs, but I think the Buccaneers don't dive when they drop their bombs, so they drop them level, which means that they're actually much easier to dodge than something like a Jaguar with the same loadout, which is why they're a lot cheaper. But the laser guided bomb one, pretty decent. 2 paveway 2s. Very nice, very nice. 30% ECM, 1025 km/h speed. Very nice indeed. The Seed variant, 200 points for Seed. 30% penetration, or 30 penetration. The big problem with the Seed missile is it's super short range compared to others. Like 4,400 meter range, not very good. 45% accuracy, not very accurate. So it's good to have Seed. That's quite cheap, but you are kind of paying for it. Then we have the Buccaneer with the AJ168. So 30 pen, 4,400 meter range, 45% accuracy. But these are semi-active, which means that you have to basically pointing in the direction that you want it to go. Like you kind of like right-click the target and fire it. And then if you turn away before the missile hits the target, then it can affect the accuracy. For air-to-air, a couple options. The F4F of the Germans, which comes with 4 AIM-9s. Okay, pretty nice anti-helicopter aircraft. And also the F-16, which comes with 6 AIM-9s. This is a Dutch aircraft. So yeah, this is always going to be a nice option. Like the F-16 with the 6 AIM-9s. The big problem you're going to have, of course, is like MiG-31s that are going to like snipe you from miles away. But if you can get close, these are great. All right, well, that's very nice. Lots of good stuff in here. Let's go ahead and put together a quick deck. So we can't get an FSP, which is interesting. So we're going to have to kind of think about how much supply value we can get out of the vehicles that we have. We definitely want to bring in the CH-53. And then maybe I'm just bringing in the Unimogs. Do I bring in a leader here? I'm not sure I do yet. If I don't, then I can bring in more supply. If I do, then yeah, we'll just bring in a leader there instead. But because our infantry tab has a lot of slots, there's a good chance we can get leaders in here. We don't have any leaders in the tank tab though. So yeah, we might be removing like too much stuff by trying to fit it in. All right, let's go for Gurkha's rifles. Definitely bring in those. They're going to be like our mainline infantry after the beginning of the game. We definitely want Gurkha's leaders. So that's perfectly fine. We will want plenty of HGMs. HGMs are actually going to be super important. So we got 6 Milan 2s there and another 4 Milan 2s there. The Paras are decent as well with their forward deploy. I want to go to British bias, but so far it's looking pretty good. The Fallschirmjäger might be worth bringing, but you only get 6 on a card. Para gun group, don't think are worth it. What about our close range options? Definitely not the Belgians. Why does it look like it's going to be para engineers again? All the British forces. Milan's not worth bringing. The Dutch are not worth bringing. Wombat's not worth bringing. I'm thinking maybe the Paracommando. That's a really good forward deploy unit. Otherwise, I think that's it. So we'll just pop these over here. I'll put that at the front because that's going to be the unit we want to bring in at the start. Maybe with some of those. Otherwise, that is fine. Maybe I upvet these. A lot of infantry. I think we need a lot of infantry. Okay, moving on to artillery. Definitely going to try out these cluster mortars. And I think other than that, we'll do maybe a couple cards of these German Tampellers. Right, tank tab, we want scimitars. We want both cards of the Weasel Totus. We want the ATMP Milans. I'm tempted to bring in the Weasels as well. Do I want the Striker? Probably not. Alright, moving on to Recon. We definitely want Pathfinders. Definitely want these high vet vehicles. Definitely want some scimitars. Might just bring this in for the funsies. I think Fallschirmjäger Aufgabe, good choice. Unfortunately, the Belgians just don't seem worth it. Sniper might be worth it. I mean, ideally, you probably wouldn't bring this unit, like the LSV with the 50 cal. You would bring the one with the Milan, and then you'd maybe bring like a sniper or something instead, is what I'm thinking. But we're definitely bringing the Darkfire. I'm going to upvet it as well. I will bring in the Mistrals for sure. Going to bring in the LML and the Skyguard. I really kind of want to try these out. Look at I go with the 20mm. I might swap them between the LML and the Cracker 20mm. We'll see. Okay, here we just want 1 card. And then we have 5 points for aircraft. So we want Seed, air-to-air, laser-guided bombs, HE bomber. This HE bomber is going to be really good for like clearing out infantry. That's what this is good for, this Buccaneer. Is that it? I'm feeling like the Buccaneer with AT is going to be needed. You get 3 on a card as well. That costs 2 points. Let's take out one of those cards and bring up the Buccaneer with AT. Yeah, for 175 points. I think this can trade up most of the time. We are going to need more supply and more leaders. Yeah. Maybe I don't need that many mortars. We'll bring in the Belgian leader just to make the Belgians feel a bit better. And then the tab here, maybe we just remove a unit to get some extra in. I mean, maybe if we do... These Paras just going to be better than the Fallschirmjägers, right? So I think we just take out the Fallschirmjägers and we pop in another Gurkha rifle leader. Okay. Seems good. I'm going to bring some of these in Chinooks, because there might be an opportunity to use them at the start of the game to kind of back up your initial forward deployment. Our initial forward deployment is going to be the Belgians plus the British. Then we got the Gurkhas that can back them up, and then the Milans. That seems good. Alright, Multinational Airborne Division. Cool. Really awesome division. Definitely one of the more unique divisions in WARNO, and you can tell by just how long I spent going over all of the different units. I think this is really cool. It will definitely have its own playstyle that relies a lot on these ATGMs. But we'll see how we get on with it in the future. For now, let me know what you think about the Multinational Airborne Division. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.